Hello, everybody! BeMetalways here! Welcome to the first weekly heavy metal album review of 2022. WILDERUN Epigone, released by Century Media Records on January 7th, 2022. Now, the band was formed 10 years ago and is a New England quartet named WILDERUN, and they have released 3 albums prior to this one. The third one being 2019's Veil of Imagination. That album was praised by critics. It transformed and expanded the band's sound, resulting in an album that is beautiful and fierce at the same time. While their roots are kind of the American response to the European folk metal, the band has evolved, and to me now they are a full prog rock/metal band with folk and extreme metal influences. So let's talk about Epigone. This album arrives as the year starts, and it's the band's fourth album, as I mentioned. Important to notice that the album was recorded as a 5 piece, and the band had Joe Gettler on the lead guitars. However, in the meantime, he left the band, so now Wayne Ingram is fully once again the lead guitar player and is doing the lead guitars live. He's also responsible for the orchestrations in this album. The band is completed by Ivan Anderson Barry vocals guitars, Daniel Miller bass synths, and John Tichy on the drums. The new album features 9 songs, is just above 1 hour. But notice that Distraction is broken into 4 songs, and Ambition is a short instrumental in the middle of the album. The album opens with this relatively short, almost 5 minute exhaler. It's a folk orchestrated acoustic ballad that to me, more than a standalone song, feels like a long intro to the album. After that, we go into a series of epic songs where WILDERUN transverse a variety of musical genres, such as epic orchestration passages followed by hard guitar riffs. Clean vocals transform into deathly growls. To me, there's a lot of Opeth in their sound, but interestingly, a lot of Camelot due to not only Barry's clean vocals but also the orchestrations and female backing vocals. There's still a lot of folk and acoustic elements in their sound, but they are much more subtle than in other bands. The middle part of Wool Gatherer, for example, is really cool and brings that middle-age feel to it without the use of in-your-face folk metal tricks. Passenger is my favorite song on the album. That epic opening is great. It sounds huge with these orchestrations, a choir, and guitar solos all building up together. It's really nice. When the clean vocals come in, it brings that power prog metal feel, and as it could have been in Camelot's The Black Halo album, for example. But then that's mixed with death growls in the best Opeth style. Overall, this is just great. And talking about Opeth, Identifier is one of the best Opeth songs that Opeth never wrote. But then in that song, when you think that's gonna be just like a full Opeth style song, the band fully brings Haken vibe to it. You know, it's just great. The vocal melodies in this song and overall on the album are super catchy and memorable. And both the death growls that have this style of Michael Eckerfeld from Opeth, or the clean vocals that to me reminds me a lot of Roy Khan from Camelot, well, ex-Camelot, they all sound very beautiful and nice, both the growls and the clean vocals. Ambition is an expandable, almost 3 minute sample effect song that breaks the album into 2. The second part of the album is Distraction, in 4 parts and totaling almost 20 minutes. It's a journey through the WILDERUN is all about. Acoustic passage, clean singing, along vocals building up to huge orchestrations and choirs to death growls, all during the part 1 only of the song. Part 2 balances melody with aggression and heavy guitars. It also built up to this big erratic orchestration, almost like the Beatles' A Day in a Life. Part 3 is like bringing us to that sound mountain to a very calm valley. It's really, you feels like you go up and down with that part. Strings and keyboards surround the singing and create this peaceful ambience until this finally leads us to the coolest guitar solo on the album. We then reach the Distraction Nulla, which is a 3-minute chaotic instrumental that closes the album without adding too much to it, in my opinion. Now, if I'm being picky here, Wool Gatherer had everything to be a fantastic song, but a couple of choices made it during the production ruin this song for me, unfortunately. Mainly the piercing noise that is for an inexplicable reason included in a couple of moments during the song not only irritates me, but it physically hurts. I really don't get it why they did this. Probably nobody on the band suffers from tinnitus and and don't know how bad that could be for those who do it. Otherwise, they would have removed this effect, I think. It ruins the song for me, and sorry about that. Then there is about 1 minute of useless sound effects to close the song. So with that said, for the rest, there are some very cool moments on the song. So for me personally, it's a pity that those two things kind of ruin it. I also find the opening song too long, and those are really the only issues I have with the album. For the rest, no complaints whatsoever. So, Wild Run alternates between orchestration, folk elements, and extreme metal, all executed with technical mastery and skillful songwriting. It's a delight for modern prog metal fans as it draws from many of our favorite bands, but the band creates an interesting combination that leads Wild Run to have this unique and hard to define style. Despite some editing issues and a couple of poor choices that I mentioned, I still consider it a good album and I have been listening to it quite a lot. So that's for me is a 81 out of 100. I must also point out that Passenger is already a contender to be among my top songs of the year. So prog fans, you can try Epigone with the confidence to have a good time. That's it for the first review of 2022. Thanks for being here, for listening, and BeMetalways!